I want to ask you a question, and initially it's going to sound kind of stupid because the answer is obvious, but just for fun, let me ask you a question. Can you control the weather? When you wake up in the morning, can you decide what the weather is going to be like that day? Well, the obvious answer to that is no, right? You can do literally nothing about what the weather is going to be like. If you wake up and it's hot and humid, you can't do anything to make it cold or cooler. If you wake up and it's a snowstorm outside, you can't do anything to make it tropical, right? There's literally nothing you can do about what the weather is going to be like. I can kind of relate to this as somebody who lives in a cold, snowy state. I've always kind of dreamed of living in a warm place like Arizona or Texas or California, right? Somewhere where it's warm a lot of the time. It's beautiful weather, right? I love palm trees, and I've always kind of had this dream of living in a state where there's palm trees. So imagine if I were to wake up in the morning and I were to say, I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to be happy today. I'm going to be content with everything that happens today, but I'm only going to have a good day today if it's hot and the sun's out and it's a beautiful day. If that happens, I'll have a good day. If not, then I guess I'm going to have a bad day. Well, obviously, as someone who lives in a cold, snowy place, that would be pretty insane for me to do, right? I'd be setting myself up to be unhappy a large amount of the time if I were to do that. So to think that you can control the weather or do anything about the weather, and to put conditions on the weather for whether or not you're going to be happy and whether or not you're going to have a good day, I think we can all agree is pretty insane, right? I don't know for sure if I will ever live in a place with palm trees. I don't know if I'll ever live in a place where it's hot and warm and beautiful a large amount of the time. I don't know that. It's very possible I may live in a cold, snowy state for my entire life. I don't know. But the truth is, if I were to put those conditions on the weather, then I'd be setting myself up to be miserable a lot. And so this is almost a perfect metaphor for life in general. And the reason for that is because we like to think that we have a lot of control over our lives, that we have a lot of say in what happens. But if you're being realistic, if you're being honest with yourself, think about the totality of your life. Think about the interactions you have with other people. Think about everything that happens in your day, all the situations you encounter. How much can you control what happens? And be honest and be real with yourself. If you're being super duper generous, you can control about 1% of everything that happens. And that's being super generous, right? You can control like almost nothing that happens. Everything happens in your day, things happen, and very, very little of it do you actually have control over, right? Now, I'm not saying when I say this, I'm not saying that it's bad to try to do good things. It's bad to try to improve your life and help people and do things to improve your life and things like that. I'm not saying that you should just not do anything, right? But the truth is, you can control very little of what happens in your day-to-day life. So imagine how insane it is to put conditions on your life for your happiness. If you say, I need X amount of money to be happy, and you might not say that consciously, you might not say that verbally, but somewhere in the back of your mind, you have this thought and this belief that I need X amount of money to be happy. I need such and such job to be happy. I need this car. I need this house, right? I need whatever it is. Maybe it's I need a relationship. I need my current relationship. I need my spouse to treat me a certain way or act a certain way. I need my kids to do this and that. I need my family to show me more respect, whatever it is, right? Whatever conditions you put on your life, think about how insane that actually is. Because it may happen, right? And maybe you contributed something to make that happen. But a lot of the time, I would even say most of the time, things just happen on their own. Things are just happening. And maybe you have some influence in it, but overall, things are just happening to your life. And to put conditions on life itself for your happiness is actually insane. You're saying, I have no control over this thing, or very, very, very little control over this thing. There's not much I can actually do in this world and in this thing. I can't control what other people do. I can't control what happens. I can't control the random events that happen every day. But I'm going to put these conditions on life for my happiness and for my contentment, right? The more conditions that you place on life and on the things that happen, the more and more you will suffer. Because a lot of the time, things don't go as you want. I'm sure you know that, right? So, okay, I've told you that placing conditions on life is insane and it's going to lead to you suffering and to being unhappy, right? I've told you that. Okay, now what? How can I stop putting conditions on life? How can I stop having all these expectations of things happening for my happiness? Well, the truth is, as long as you're in a physical body, as long as you're incarnated in this world, you're going to have preferences. You're going to have things that you like and don't like. You can't get rid of those things. They're always going to exist. And the truth is, you're not doing anything to create those things. They just are. You might be able to manipulate it a little bit, right? The whole thing of like, the more you exercise, right, the more you enjoy it, they say, or if you eat certain foods, you start to crave those foods, right? So sure, you can manipulate your likes and dislikes more, but it's not about getting rid of the things you like and don't like, or pretending like if things are a certain way, oh, actually, this is actually what I like. Maybe you don't, and that's okay. But it's not about getting rid of those things. It's actually just about disidentifying from them. Realizing that you're not a person with preferences. You're not a person with things that you like and don't like. The person that you are, the preferences that you have, the thoughts that you have, the judgments that you make about your day-to-day life and everything that happens, those are just the contents of your awareness. And the truth is, your awareness, the awareness that you are and that you are experiencing, is actually at the core of it what you are. You are not the things that happen to you. You are not the world that you're seeing. You are the one that is seeing it. You're the awareness of it. And so you can see everything that happens. You can see the cold weather. You can see the snow. You can see your car breaking down. You can see the beautiful, delicious meal in front of you that you can't wait to eat, right? You can see all of these things. And you can experience pleasure and pain and all of those things. But you can still have peace no matter what happens. And the way that you do that is by realizing that you are the consciousness that is experiencing everything, that is aware of everything. Everything is existing because of your consciousness, because of our consciousness, because we're all one consciousness, and everything is just appearing in us. And if you get lost in the appearances that you're seeing, if you get lost in everything that's happening, and you put conditions on it for happiness, it's all so just crazy and unpredictable. And bad things happen every day, and good things happen every day. But if you're able to realize that, no, actually, I am not the experience, I am the experiencer. If you can do that, I'm telling you, it is the pathway, it is the key to experiencing joy and peace in every moment of life. No matter what happens, regardless of what happens, you can have joy and peace and contentment. All you have to do is remember who you really are. You are the awareness. You are the vast empty space in which everything is occurring. If you can do this, I promise you, not that every bad thing will stop happening. It's still going to happen. I promise you it will. But I also can guarantee that you will have a peaceful, happy, and content life. Peace.